Ladies and gentlemen, silence is more than just the absence of sound. It's a powerful tool in a world filled with noise. In the hustle and bustle of life, when everyone is trying to get their point across, when opinions are thrown around like confetti, silence speaks louder than any words could. But here's the thing, silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean surrender. Silence means control. It means self-awareness. It means power. When you're silent, people don't know where you stand. They can't read you. They're trying to figure you out, but they can't. And in that confusion, you gain an upper hand. You become unpredictable. You create an aura of mystery that people can't ignore. Because in a world where everyone is speaking, the person who knows when to be quiet is often the one who holds the most wisdom. Think about it. How often do we waste time explaining ourselves, defending our choices, reacting to every little thing that comes our way? Too often we think our value is in the noise we make, the words we speak. But real value comes from the actions we take, the things we choose not to say, and the calm we maintain amidst the storm. By mastering silence, you take control over your emotions. You stop reacting impulsively, and you start responding with intention. You confuse others, and in doing so, you don't reveal your next move too soon. You keep your cards close to your chest. Remember, silence is not passive. It's an active choice. It's a strategic decision that shows confidence, strength, and understanding. It's about knowing that you don't have to explain everything to everyone. Let your silence do the talking. Mastering the art of silence is one of the most powerful disciplines you can adopt in life. It's not about being withdrawn or cold. It's about being strategic with your words and actions. The truth is, we live in a world where people are constantly speaking, trying to be heard, trying to make a point. But here's the catch. The more you talk, the less value your words hold. You can't always afford to be the one filling every gap in conversation, every moment of stillness. Real power comes when you learn the value of holding your tongue, of choosing when to speak and when to remain quiet. When you master silence, you give yourself the gift of reflection. It allows you to observe, to think, and to consider the situation more deeply before responding. Too many people react impulsively, and in doing so, they reveal more than they should. But when you're silent, you give yourself time to pause, to gather your thoughts, and to respond with intention rather than emotion. In this way, silence becomes a tool of control. It's a method of gathering strength and understanding before you act. Think about the people who have made a lasting impact in your life. How many of them spoke constantly? Chances are, not many. The ones who made the most impact were those who spoke less, but when they did, it mattered. Their words carried weight because they were measured, thoughtful, and deliberate. The same principle applies in life. Your silence becomes a measure of your ability to remain in control, of your awareness of the situation, and of your understanding that not every moment requires an immediate reaction. By mastering silence, you stop letting the noise around you dictate your actions. You stop being pushed into impulsive responses or actions. Instead, you allow the world to unfold at its own pace, and you make your move only when you're sure it's the right one. Silence, then, is not the absence of action, it's the presence of control, wisdom, and purpose. And in a world full of distractions, there is no greater asset than the ability to remain calm, composed, and silent when needed. Control over your emotions is the cornerstone of personal growth and success. Life is filled with moments that test our patience, our resolve, and our character. People will push your buttons. Circumstances will frustrate you. But here's the key: what defines you is not what happens to you, but how you respond. When you lose control of your emotions, you lose control of your life. And the more you allow your emotions to govern your actions, the more unpredictable and reactive you become. This is where the real challenge lies: learning to maintain your composure regardless of the external chaos. The first step in mastering your emotions is understanding that they are not you. Emotions are just signals, not directives. They are natural, they arise for a reason, but they do not dictate your behavior unless you allow them to. By recognizing that your emotions are temporary states and not permanent truths, you can take a step back and observe them without being overwhelmed by them. This gives you the space to choose your response rather than reacting out of impulse or frustration. There's a power in the pause. When you feel anger, fear, or disappointment rising, instead of immediately acting on it, take a moment to breathe, to reflect. What's really at stake here? What's the best course of action? By creating that gap between stimulus and response, you regain control. You become the one who dictates the outcome, rather than being at the mercy of your emotions. The truth is, emotional control is a skill that takes time to develop. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires practice and consistency. And it doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or ignore them. It means you understand them, you acknowledge them, and then you decide how to move forward in a way that aligns with your goals, your values, and your long-term vision. It's not about eliminating negative emotions, but learning to navigate them without letting them define you. The real power comes when you can maintain your calm, your focus, and your direction, even when everyone around you is losing theirs. By controlling your emotions, you remain steady in the face of challenges. You respond with wisdom, not in haste. This gives you a significant advantage in life because while others are reacting emotionally and making decisions based on momentary feelings, you are acting from a place of clarity and purpose. This is how you create lasting success, by remaining emotionally intelligent, disciplined, and grounded no matter what life throws at you. Letting others speak first is one of the simplest yet most powerful strategies you can employ in both personal and professional life. It's about understanding the value of listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. When you give others the space to speak first, you open the door to information that you would have otherwise missed. You get to hear their thoughts, their concerns, and their perspective before you even share your own. This is valuable because it gives you insight into what's really going on, what people are thinking, and what they need or want. By listening before speaking, you gather intelligence that will help you make better decisions. This doesn't mean you should be passive or disengaged. On the contrary, it's an active form of listening, where you're paying attention to more than just the words being spoken. You're observing body language, tone, and emotion. You're gathering clues about what's behind the words, what's not being said. This deep level of listening allows you to respond with more relevance, more depth, and more value when it's your turn to speak. When you speak first, you risk missing crucial details. You might make assumptions based on incomplete information, or worse, you could say something that isn't fully aligned with the situation at hand. But when you allow others to speak first, you gain the advantage of seeing the bigger picture before contributing your thoughts. This enables you to frame your response in a way that is more thoughtful, more strategic, and more aligned with the needs of the conversation. In negotiations, in business, or in any decision-making process, letting others speak first gives you a significant edge. It forces them to show their cards before you reveal yours. You gain the upper hand by understanding their position, and then you can decide how best to approach the situation, whether that's providing a solution, offering insight, or taking a different direction entirely. Often people will say things that give away more than they intend, and when you hold back your own thoughts for a moment, you let them reveal more than they might have if you were quick to respond. The key to success in life is not always in being the first to speak, but in knowing when to listen and when to share your thoughts. By letting others speak first, you show respect, you gather valuable information, and you position yourself to respond with clarity and purpose. This practice allows you to remain composed, thoughtful, and strategic, which ultimately leads to better outcomes. There's a powerful lesson in not explaining everything. In today's world, it can feel like we're constantly under pressure to justify our every decision, to defend our choices, or to provide an explanation for every action we take. But here's the truth: the more you explain, the more you dilute your value. Not every move you make needs an explanation. In fact, some of the most successful people in the world don't spend their time explaining themselves. They simply act, and their actions speak louder than any words ever could. When you feel the need to explain everything, it's often a sign of insecurity or a lack of confidence in your own decisions. You're seeking validation, trying to convince others that you're right or that your choices are worthy. But the reality is, the more you explain, the more you open yourself up to judgment. The more you speak, the more you give others the opportunity to critique, question, or undermine your decisions. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response you can give. Don't feel the need to justify your goals, your vision, or your dreams to anyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the direction your life is taking. Your life is yours to live, and your decisions are yours to make. When you explain yourself, you run the risk of giving too much information, revealing things that others don't need to know, or worse, giving them ammunition to doubt you. There's strength in being selective with your words and choosing not to explain every aspect of your life. This doesn't mean you should be secretive or deceitful. It simply means you don't need to offer an explanation for everything. Keep certain things to yourself, trust your instincts, and let your actions speak for you. The more you explain, the more you diminish your sense of authority. The more you explain, the more people may question your decisions. Remember, the value of your life, your business, and your choices is not in the explanations you offer, but in the results you achieve. When you act decisively and with purpose, you don't need to explain. Your success will speak for itself. And those who need an explanation will likely never understand the drive and vision that got you to where you are. Keep moving forward and let your actions do the talking. Building mystery around yourself is one of the most effective ways to create intrigue and respect in both your personal and professional life. Too often we feel the need to reveal everything about ourselves, the details of our lives, our thoughts, and our plans. But the truth is, when you share too much, you lose the element of surprise and you risk being predictable. People are naturally drawn to the unknown. When you keep certain aspects of your life private, you spark curiosity, and that curiosity keeps people interested. You don't need to explain everything. Sometimes leaving gaps creates a sense of wonder, and that can be far more powerful than telling your whole story. Building mystery doesn't mean being deceptive or hiding who you are. It means being selective with what you reveal, and when you reveal it, you control the narrative. You decide how much you want people to know and when you want them to know it. By holding back some of your thoughts, plans, and actions, you maintain a sense of unpredictability. People will start to wonder what you're thinking, where you're going, and what you're capable of. And that's the key. The moment people think they have you figured out, you lose your power. But when you keep them guessing, they stay intrigued, they stay interested, and they stay respectful. Think about those individuals who have an air of confidence and mystery around them. They don't need to explain every move they make. They're not the first to jump into a conversation or to reveal their plans. Instead, they leave people wanting more, and in doing so, they position themselves as someone worth listening to, someone worth paying attention to. That's the power of mystery. It commands respect without even trying. When you build mystery, you also give yourself time to reflect and strategize. You don't rush into making decisions or revealing your thoughts. You take your time, and when you do speak, when you do act, it's impactful because it's unexpected. People will be more likely to listen because they haven't already heard everything from you. You maintain a sense of control, and that control gives you the edge in every situation. So don't feel pressured to share everything. Let others do the talking. Keep some things to yourself. Build that sense of mystery and let people wonder. Because in a world that's overflowing with noise and information, the person who leaves others curious, intrigued, and unsure of what comes next is often the one who holds the most power. Being deliberate in your actions is the key to building a life of purpose and results. So many people rush through life, reacting to every situation without taking the time to think things through. They act on impulse without considering the long-term impact of their decisions. But when you're deliberate, you take the time to assess your actions, plan your steps, and move forward with intention. Every move you make should be calculated, not based on emotion or external pressures, but rooted in your goals and vision for the future. Deliberate action is the difference between a person who drifts through life and someone who takes control. It's about knowing exactly why you're doing something and what you want to achieve by doing it. When you take deliberate action, you don't just go through the motions, you have a clear understanding of where you're headed and what steps need to be taken to get there. This level of intentionality separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The people who win in life are the ones who act with purpose, not the ones who let life push them in every direction. To be deliberate means to think before you act, to take the time to weigh your options, and to make decisions based on logic and reason rather than emotions or circumstances. It's about creating a plan and sticking to it, even when things get tough. It's not about acting quickly for the sake of speed. It's about acting with precision, knowing that every action is a step towards your ultimate goal. Whether you're making a business decision, planning your next career move, or simply managing your day, being deliberate ensures that you're always moving forward with purpose. When you're deliberate, you also avoid unnecessary mistakes. You don't waste time on actions that don't serve your goals. You eliminate distractions and focus on the steps that bring you closer to where you want to be. This requires discipline and commitment, but it's the only way to create consistent, long-term results. Deliberate actions create momentum, and momentum creates success. You become a person who can be trusted to follow through, to make the right decisions, and to take the necessary steps to achieve what you set out to do. The more deliberate you are in your actions, the more confident you'll become in your ability to make things happen. You'll stop reacting to life's challenges and start responding with clarity and focus. And when you act with purpose, others will take notice. They'll see that you're someone who doesn't waste time or energy. You're someone who moves with intention and who achieves results. That's the power of being deliberate. It's not about rushing through life or making decisions on a whim. It's about making every step count. And when you do that, success becomes inevitable. Responding rather than reacting is one of the most important distinctions you can make in life. When you react, you're letting external circumstances dictate your behavior. You're allowing your emotions, impulses in the moment to control you. Reactions are automatic, often driven by frustration, fear, or anger. They're knee-jerk responses that lack thought and rarely lead to the best outcomes. But when you respond, you take control, you make a choice. You take a step back, assess the situation, and decide how best to proceed. Life will always present challenges, obstacles, and people who test your patience. How you handle these moments determines your success. The world is full of people who react to insults, to setbacks, to misunderstandings. They lash out in frustration or act without thinking, only to regret their actions later. But when you respond, you maintain your composure. You think, you plan, and then you act with purpose. You don't let the circumstances push you off course. You stay steady, no matter what comes your way. The difference between responding and reacting is in the pause. It's about giving yourself time to think before you act. When someone challenges you, you don't immediately fire back. Instead, you take a moment to understand the situation, to consider your options, and to determine the most effective way to move forward. Responding is a choice, and it comes from a place of calm, wisdom, and self-control. Reacting, on the other hand, is impulsive and often driven by emotion, which can cloud your judgment. When you respond, you gain the upper hand. You control the situation, not the other way around. People who react often end up regretting their words or actions, but those who respond do so thoughtfully with clarity and purpose. They choose their words carefully, they take the necessary steps to resolve conflicts, and they do so without letting emotion cloud their judgment. In doing so, they position themselves as leaders, as people who can be trusted to handle difficult situations with grace and intelligence. Responding also gives you the opportunity to make the best possible decision rather than just the fastest one. It's easy to be caught up in the heat of the moment and let your emotions drive you. But when you respond, you think through the consequences of your actions and consider the bigger picture. This ensures that the decision you make is aligned with your long-term goals, not just your immediate feelings. In the end, reacting is about being controlled by life. Responding is about controlling your life. The more you practice responding with intention, the more you take charge of your own future. You stop letting the world dictate your actions, and you start making decisions that are in line with your values, your purpose, and your vision for the future. That's the power of responding. It's not about denying your emotions, but about choosing how to act in a way that serves you and the life you want to create. Creating strategic distance is about understanding the power of space between you and others, between you and the situations that demand your attention. In a world where everyone is rushing, chasing, and engaging at every turn, it's easy to get swept up in the noise. But when you create strategic distance, you give yourself the ability to observe, reflect, and choose your path with greater clarity. The truth is, when you're too close to something, whether it's a problem, a person, or a decision, you lose perspective. You become emotionally entangled, and that makes it harder to see things for what they really are. Strategic distance allows you to step back and gain a clearer view of the situation. When you're too involved, you become part of the chaos, and that clouds your judgment. But when you pull back and create some space, you allow yourself to think more rationally and make decisions that are based on logic, not emotion. It's not about withdrawing from life or becoming detached. It's about giving yourself room to think and act without being overly influenced by the immediate pressures or emotions of the moment. This distance also serves as a form of protection. In both business and personal relationships, the closer you are, the more vulnerable you become. People may begin to take advantage of your proximity, your time, or your energy. When you create some space, you maintain your own boundaries. You protect your time, your resources, and your focus. By keeping a healthy distance, you ensure that you don't overcommit yourself or get involved in situations that don't align with your goals. Moreover, creating strategic distance allows you to be less predictable. When everyone knows your next move, when they can always reach you or expect an immediate response, they begin to take you for granted. But when you create distance, you introduce an element of mystery and unpredictability. People will begin to pay more attention to what you do and say, because they know that they can't always count on you being right there, available at all times. This creates respect. People value what they can't always have immediate access to. By creating strategic distance, you also give yourself time to recharge and refocus. Too often we become too involved in the day-to-day, bogged down by the constant demands of others. Distance allows you to prioritize your own needs and goals, to evaluate what truly matters and what doesn't, and to take deliberate actions that move you toward your bigger vision. You become the one who chooses when and where to engage, not the one constantly reacting to everything around you. Ultimately, creating strategic distance gives you the space to think clearly, act wisely, and protect what's important. It keeps you in control of your time, your energy, and your decisions. You stop being at the mercy of external forces, and instead you become the architect of your own life. This is where true power lies, when you've mastered the ability to step back, observe, and act with purpose rather than being swept up in the chaos of the moment. Gaining the upper hand in life is about taking control of your circumstances, not just reacting to them. It's about positioning yourself to lead, to influence, and to make decisions that serve your best interests. Too often, people find themselves at the mercy of life's circumstances, reacting, struggling, and trying to keep up. But those who succeed are the ones who understand the power of positioning. They know that the right actions taken at the right time can shift the balance of any situation in their favor. To gain the upper hand, you first need to understand that life is full of opportunities to influence and shape outcomes. Success is not about luck or being in the right place at the right time. It's about preparation, strategy, and awareness. The more you understand the rules of the game, the more you can leverage them to your advantage. People often get caught up in short-term reactions, but the truly successful play a longer game. They see the big picture and take deliberate steps to move toward it, regardless of the distractions that may pop up along the way. One key to gaining the upper hand is learning to anticipate what's coming. When you can predict what others will do, what challenges may arise, and what opportunities are available, you put yourself in a position to act first. Think of it like a chess game. Those who are always reacting to their opponent's moves are playing defense, while those who anticipate and plan ahead are always a few steps ahead. This is the mindset you need to develop. When you know what's coming, you can take action with confidence, make moves that put you in a stronger position, and avoid unnecessary setbacks. Another important element in gaining the upper hand is controlling your emotions. Emotional reactions can cloud your judgment and lead you to make decisions you'll regret. Those who maintain control over their emotions, who stay calm and composed in the face of pressure, are the ones who ultimately win. When you allow emotion to drive your actions, you lose your ability to think clearly, and that opens the door for others to take advantage of you. But when you stay composed, you create space to think, to plan, and to act with purpose. This is a major advantage in any situation.